uses. Okay, this is the list of the this keyword in Java. Okay, so the first three uses will be discussed with you right now, and the remaining these keyword uses, those who are going through the Java course prior to this semester, they can go through this part. In these notes, the uses of this remaining these 4, 5, and 6 point, this is also illustrated in these notes. Okay, because these uses of this keyword is related to event handling in Java. Today you are not aware of the event handling, that's why I am unable to make you understand the proper uses of this keyword. The remaining three uses, that is number 4, number 5, and number 6. But the first three uses, among the first three uses, already two uses are discussed with you. If you have any query or any doubt regarding these two uses, you can also ask me. Any query? Okay, you don't have any query, so we'll move for the third one. Okay, go for the third point. This is the use for third uses of this keyword. This keyword, you can also use this keyword to invoke the current class constructor. The first uses is related to the instance variable, and the second uses is related to the same class method, and third uses is related to the same class, or you can say that is the current class constructor. If you want to invoke the current class constructor within your program, then you can also use this keyword for this purpose. Just go through this example. Here it is an example, that is a class A is declared first, and within this class we have just declared one constructor without parameter, without any parameter. I have declared one constructor, and within this constructor I have just show one statement, that is hello A, whatever be the statement. Next, you have declared another constructor, that is parameterized constructor. That means within this constructor, we are passing one integer variable. We all know that this is possible because we all already discussed about the constructor overloading concept. Now look at this point. Within the second constructor, there is a line, that is this. After that, there are the first bracket parenthesis. Okay. This line actually help you to implement the call to the current class constructor, that is the first constructor you have just declared within your class. You are now in the class of A, that is named as A. Now within this class you have declared two constructors, one without parameter and another with parameter. Now inside the constructor of with parameter, you want to call the constructor that have no parameter. So for that purpose, for invoking that constructor that is without parameter, you can write down the this keyword, and after that there are the first bracket. There is a first bracket. Okay. This is nothing but the syntax for calling parent class constructor. After that, we are showing here one SOP that will just print the variable that I want to pass within this parameterized constructor. This is the case. So to make this happen in real life, what you have to do, you have to create one object of this class. Okay. Now within the main class or within the main method, I have created one object of a class, and then we are calling the constructor that is already parameterized. So whether this constructor that is without parameter is called or not, that can be visible by this output. Now look at this. Whenever you are calling this, this line is executing. At that time, which constructor will be called? Compiler will understand by this parameter passing, that is parameterized constructor is called here. Okay. So the control will be go to this particular line. Now within this line, we are showing here that there is a this keyword with parentheses. So this line will invoke the constructor that is just previously declared. Okay, so the first constructor that is declared within this class. So within this, how we can get understand that this constructor is called by this SOP statement, that is hello A. This constructor is called, so the output is hello A like that. And next, the remaining statement will be executed, that is SOP, and within SOP we are just passing the value of the X. That's why 10 will be printed here. Okay, so go for the example in your virtual lab session. Let me share this editor first. Now we are writing down the same example here, that is class A. This class creating one constructor that is without parameter. Okay, and after that here we are just showing SOP, and here I am writing here that is within. After that, next time you have declared another constructor, and this constructor will hold one parameter inside it. Next, do you want to call or you want to invoke this constructor in the current class? You want to invoke this constructor in the current class. So what do we need to write down? That is this, then the first bracket. This line will invoke the just first statement, that is the first constructor declared within this class. Okay. Writing that is value of, then we are concatenating the value of X here. Okay. So this is our template. Here within this template, we are creating a one class, and that class contain only two constructor, one without parameter and another with parameter. And the constructor that is with parameter, in this constructor, we are calling the constructor that is without parameter. You can do this by using this keyword. Okay, so make it happen in real life or make it in real life existence. You need to create object of that class, so that here we are creating it of class, this class. Next we are passing, we are actually calling this constructor. That's why we are passing here a particular value, that is an integer value. Okay, so look what happened. Look at this. Whenever you are creating the object of class A using this constructor, the control will pass to this constructor, and in this constructor, these two instructions will be executed. The first instruction tells the compiler that it invoke the current class constructor that is just previously declared. Okay, that's why this constructor will be executed right now. That's why the within A statement is printed first. Okay, and after that we are just showing the value of X here. Value of X here. That's why the next line will be printed. That is value of X is 20. Any doubt on this program? I'm just showing this example. This is the most easiest example to understand this concept, understand the basic concept of this. But if you want to make the uses of this concept, then you need to do several other programs. Okay, so that if there is a situation that you need to declare the value of 2 or 3 variable from the suppose there are 6 variable that are declared in a particular class, and you are using constructor overloading concept. Okay, and for a particular purpose you want to declare only the uses of 4 variable, so that you can arrange your constructor according to the class variable that you want to use. And after that, whenever you want to merge 2 or say 3 variable, 3 class variable in a single run of your program, then you can use this concept. That is this. Using this line, using actually this keyword, you can call the file constructor. Now look at this. Here is also another point that you need to remember, that if you just do this line after this particular statement, just do it. Let me do it. This is Java also. I just swapping these 2 statements. Now look what happened. There will be an error. Why? Because there is a restriction that whenever you want to use or you want to invoke the current class constructor and you are using this keyword for this purpose, this line should be your first statement of your declare constructor. Okay, this particular line should be your first line in your declare constructor. After that, you can write down any number of instruction within this constructor, but the restriction is you need to declare this keyword at the very beginning of your constructor. This is the restriction for using this keyword. Any doubt till now? There is also another example that is discussed in the notes section. Just go through that part. Any query till now? Any query? Shumon, any query?
No, madam. No, madam.
Okay, fine. So let's go for the next section, that is uses of static keyword. Look, we are already discussed about the 3 uses of this keyword. The first uses is you can invoke the instance variable by using this keyword. Second one is the uses of parent class method, and the third one is uses for parent class constructor. Okay, these 3 uses you can use in your Java program, and that will help you to do programming according to your needs. Okay, next we will study about the static keyword. This is also most vital keyword used in Java. We will go for the static keyword right now and do practice of this part. Okay, now we will move on to the Java static keyword. Now look at this. This static keyword, we have already used this static keyword in our Java program, that is public static void main. Okay, just we are declaring a method as a static. But besides the use of the static keyword with using the method, there are 3 other uses of static keyword that can be associated with a variable, that can be associated with a block, and that can be associated with a nested class also. Okay, so the static keyword that are available in Java, you can use with the variable, you can use with the method, you can use with the block, and as well as you can use with the nested class. Now just remember the concept of nested class that I've declared in your lab session in your second lab. Nested class is nothing but you are declaring a class within a class. Okay, so there will be a concept for the inner class and outer class. We will study it in details, but in these four actually uses you can associate with the static keyword. First one is variable, second one is method, third one is block, and the fourth one is nested class. let's look what is the uses actually. What happen actually whenever you are just declaring a static variable. You want to use a variable, if you want to basically declare a variable as a static, then what will happen? That variable property or that variable will be common to all the subject. Now look at this point that if you are declaring a class and within that class you are declaring a variable that is named as a static. Okay, so that static variable value will be common to all the objects that will be created from that class. Okay, just think about the example. You are all in 63 student in your class. Whenever you are taking admission at NSHM Knowledge Campus, at that time, all the required information of all of you, all of the students have already stored in the database. And if you are doing this application program using any object oriented program, or you can say for the sake of simplicity that is using Java, then what you need to do? You need to write down a template for that purpose. That is the name of the student, roll number of the student, mail ID of the student, as well as the college name of the student, or you can say that department name. Okay, college name is same for all the student. You can think about that is the department name. Now look, all the 63 student have several name, sorry, different name, different roll number, different mail ID, but the department name is same for all the student. Just think about the basic concept of object. Whenever you are creating object, memory will be allocated for each and every object. And if that object is associated with the four property, that is name, roll number, email ID, and department name, that means for all the variable, memory will be allocated for each subject. So whenever there are a total of 63 students in your class, the same statement or same information will be repeated for all the 63 students. That means there is a case for memory wastage. Look at this, the same, this part, that is department name is CSE. This is common for all the students. So whenever you are creating the object, you don't need to allocate separate memory for that, for storing the department name. There is the necessity that you can just store this name only once you can store this name, and this property can be shared by all the objects, all the students, all the remaining students. If you want to do that, then at that time there is a use for static variable. You need to declare that variable as a static. That's why here it is written that the static variable gets memory only once in the class area at the time of class loading. That whenever you are invoking the object of that class, at that time only once the memory will be allocated for that variable. And think about the part whenever you are declaring the variable, declaring the object of that class several times, that means total of 63 times. All that time, the remaining information, the memory will be allocated separately. So this is the main utility of static variable. Okay, it actually the resource uses properly. You can use the resources that are available to you, or you can think about that is it makes your program more memory efficient. Okay, so here is also an example. You can go through this example. It is named as a college name. College name is given here as an ITS, or the remaining thing, that is the roll number and string, that is string name and int roll number. These two are the two separate features of the student class. Okay, so what it will, here you are declaring a class that is named as a student, and within this class we are declaring one int variable and one string variable that is named. Now Another string variable is declared here as a college, and that is described as a special property with the special property that is static here. And the value, particular value is assigned within this class. We are not assigning this value whenever we are creating the object, because this is not required that whenever you are creating the object, each and every time you will assign this value, because this value is fixed. This value is common for all the object that you will create. So the next part, that this is the difference between the remaining program that I have just discussed with you, that whenever you are declaring the constructor of this class, here within this constructor, the parameter that we will pass only that is required for this program. That means only the roll number and the name of the student. We don't need to pass here the college name. Okay, or you can say the department name. Okay, so this is our constructor, and within this display method, here we are just showing the roll number, name, and college name. And next, within the main method, you are just creating object of that class. Here we are passing the two value that is just declared within the constructor. That is the roll number of the student as well as the name of the student. And after that, you are just calling the method display. So it will show you the roll number of the student, name of the student, as well as the college name. Now look at this pictorial representation. In this representation, whenever you are creating memory, that is S1 and S2, that's two object of the student class, that is first student and second student. For the first student, there is also the ID of the student, that means the roll number, that is nothing but the roll number, and that is the name of the student. These two fields will be uniquely created for each and every object that will be associated with that class. But look at this part, these two fields will be associated with the common property, that is the college name. Since you are declaring this property as a static, the value of this variable will not be initialized each and every time the object will be invoked. This is the main distraction, and that's why it is memory efficient. Okay, so let's go for the example and try to see what happened. The screen is visible to you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Just a minute. Just look at this. Here is a class student, and within this class, we are just declaring three variable: int roll, string, we are declaring a static variable, static string. Okay, college. That is NSHM. Okay. After that, you need to declare the constructor of this class, because you will pass the value of each and every object whenever it will be created. So here we are declaring one integer variable for roll number, and sorry, it is string here, string n. Okay. After that, you need to initialize this variable with your instance variable, so that you need to write down roll equal to r and name equal to n. Okay, fine. Next, here we are declaring one method, display method basically, to show the information that you have just passed. System dot out dot ln Sorry. With that, it is the college name. Okay. Here we are writing the college name, then we are concatenating with the value of it. That is okay. This is our template, so that we are creating a template of a student, and that student have a unique roll number, unique name, and a common property to all the student, that is college. Okay. So after that, the object of this class equal to new student, only the roll number of the student and the value, name of the value of that student only. Okay. After that, we will call the display method, so that the information will be displayed for that student. Next, we will declare another more student, so that the common property will be properly understandable. Student entry, that is student, that is another student. Here it is new. We are declaring another student, the roll number of the student, as well as the name of the student. Say Ram. Okay. So these two are the object of the class of student. Next, declaring, we are actually calling the display method. Got it? So just run this code. Now look, for the first display method, it is showing that is roll 1, name Ram, college name is NSHM. For the second one, roll 2, name Rahim, and college name is NSHM. Now look at this NSHM, this college name is repeated twice here. But for this so for this third variable, it is college name, no memory will be allocated for each and every time a separate object will be created for this class. Only once, that is at the very beginning, whenever you are just declaring this variable as a static, whenever the program starts its execution, only once the memory will be allocated for this particular variable. Okay, this is the utility of static keyword. If you declare the static keyword with a particular variable in your class. Any doubts from this point?
No, no.
Anyone? Okay, fine. This is the first uses of static keyword. The next one is already known to you, that is the static method. Although there are also other part that I just discussed with you. Let me share the okay. Next, we will discuss the second part, that is what will happen if you associate. If you associate a particular method as a static. But before moving on to that, just go through this code and tell me what will be the output of this code. Okay. Is visible to you now? Here it is a
Yes, ma'am.
program that is like class counter is declared here, and within that class counter, one integer variable is declared and the value 0 is assigned to it. After that, you are declaring one constructor of that class, and within that constructor, you are just incrementing your counter variable by 1. And in a SOP statement, you are just printing the value of the count variable. Now within the main method, you are creating the object, three object of the class counter, or just creating the object. So what will be the output? Can anyone guess the output? If you are able to guess the output of this program, that means you have a full-fledged knowledge of constructor. First of all, tell me whether the value will be incremented or not.
Ma'am, output is
No,
0, 1, 2.
No, ma'am, not included.
No, not 0, 1, 2.
Always zero.
No, it's not 0. Try to
Ma'am,
think
Ma'am, the
more.
output is 1, 2, 3.
No, it will not be just like 0. It will not just like 0, 1, 2, and it will not be 1, 2, 3 also. Think it very carefully. What is the concept of constructor? What is the concept of constructor? You are creating, and one more thing, since you are just telling that the value will be 1, 2, 3, I have just want to mention you one point that whenever you are whenever you are creating a object of a particular class,
Ma'am, 0, 0, 0. No, 1, 1, 1.
yes, the value will be 1, 1, 1. Can you explain the logic behind it?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me. Your answer is
Ma'am.
correct. Who's this?
Yes, ma'am.
Just your name. Who's there? Who is answering the question?
Ma'am,
Oh,
Gautam Raj.
okay, Raj, okay, fine. Can you tell me that what is the logic behind it?
Ma'am, the program will start from the main function, then it will create a new object called C1.
Yes.
Then int count will be initialized, and then a counter constructor will be called.
Yes.
Then the values count is incremented by 1, and
Yes.
and output is given 1. Then new constructor is new object is made C2. Then the count value becomes 0, and then the count output becomes
Yes,
1
yes,
again.
yes, very,
And
very good. This
for
is the main logic. This is the main logic that whenever you are creating a new object, that means it will not hold the value of this variable. It will start from the new one. Creating a object means you are creating a new instance of that class, not holding the value of the previous one. Whatever be the part that is separate, that is whenever you are creating a object of this class, this C1 is a new instance, and whenever that is over at this line, and whenever you are creating a new instance that is C2, it will start from this part. So here the value of count is 0 right now, then it will be incremented, that is 1, and it will be printed. For each and every object, this statement will be executed from the very beginning. Very good, Gautam. This is the main logic. Any doubts from the remaining one? Any doubts? Any query that why the answer will be 1, 1, 1? Any doubts? If you have doubts, then you can ask me. If you have doubts, you can ask me, but don't keep in silent mode. My next question is that if you want to show the output as a 1, 2, 3, then what is the changes that you need to do in this program? If the remaining student are able to understand this fact that why the answer will be 1, 1, 1, so from the remaining student, anyone of you just answer me that if you want to get the output 1, 2, 3, then what you need to do in this program? What you need to do?
Ma'am, then we will remove the int count equal to 0. I mean, we will not initialize the count as 0.
That is not from Gautam, from the remaining anyone. I think Gautam have a prior knowledge of Java. Anyone from the remaining? You can guess any answer, any logic that comes to your mind. From anyone? Think it carefully and answer me. Shomita? Can you hear me, Shomita?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you guess what will be the changes so that it will reflect the output as a 1, 2, 3? Just think about the part I have just discussed in this class. Just discuss in this class. Only one line changes will be here. I have just discussed in this class, that is the uses of static keyword. So if you made this variable as a static, then only once the memory will be allocated for this variable. So that whenever you are incrementing this value in this constructor and you are creating the new object of that class, then definitely it will be incremented by +1. Just try to do this program in your virtual lab, or in your whatever, in your PC, not in virtual lab. That if you have installed Java in your PC, you can do it. But this is the concept. Just if you declare this variable as a static, then what will happen? The memory will be initialized only once. And each time you are creating the object of this class, the same memory location will be accessed. So for that part, if you increment the variable value by 1, then it will be reflected to your output. Okay. This is the utility of static keyword also. This is another example for the uses of static keyword. And most of the cases in the interview, you can be asked to demonstrate a concept or demonstrate a uses of static variable for the sake of a counter concept, that is counter variable. Okay, so at that time, you can do this code, or you can at least elaborate this logic, so that using the static variable, you can easily implement the counter concept in object-oriented programming. Got it? The concept or the logic? Look, whenever you are declaring this count variable as a static, so that its memory will be initialized only once. And if you are creating several objects of this class, the same memory location will be accessed. That for the first object, if you increment this variable value by 1, for the next object, whenever this object will access the variable, the value of 1 will be getting there from that part. So that for the next object, it will be incremented by 1. That means for the first run, it will be value of count will be 1. For the second run, the value of the count will be 2. And for the third run, whenever this C3 object will be created, it will get that memory location, and that memory location will now contain the value of count variable as a 2. So when the constructor will be called, it will be incremented by 1. So 3 will be printed in the last line. Okay. Any doubt why this output will be 1, 2, 3? Here is a task for you. Just try to do these two programs. And if you get any problem, if you are facing any problem, then you can ask me. But this is the concept behind these two code. Clear? One is using the static variable and another is using the not using the static variable. Just for the first time, you just declare this count variable as a non-static, and the second one, you just declare this count variable as a static, and do this code and try to understand that what is the problem, why it is changing. Okay, so today already time is over. Anyone from the chat box? Okay, Anay Rai. Okay, your answer is correct. That is 111. Okay, any doubt till now? Otherwise, I will end this class for today. Any doubts?
No,
Any
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes,
please send the note in the WhatsApp, as I'm not able to see it in the TCSN.
okay, I will send it in the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Let me just take your attendance. Okay, you can leave now.